Is your mother a messenger? Is your mother a messenger? Can't he get better? Can't he get better? We should not undertake. We should not undertake. We don't get it after a month. We don't get it after a month. I will stand up for what I believe in. I will stand up for what I believe in. His half-brother was an archaeologist. His half-brother was an archaeologist. Can think sooner. Can think sooner. Was he analyzing? Was he analyzing? Rarely did he collect? Rarely did he collect? I don't listen. I don't listen. I'm tired of this book. I'm tired of this book. 3 years later, isn't he a stickman? 3 years later, isn't he a stickman? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? 3 evenings later I am a politician. 3 evenings later I am a politician. My brother was a diver. My brother was a diver. Both parties were happy with the result. Both parties were happy with the result. I'll give you a list of words to review for your next lesson. I'll give you a list of words to review for your next lesson. Does it open after 1 minute? Does it open after 1 minute? Is your colleague a pilot? Is your colleague a pilot? He came to the meeting first. He came to the meeting first. Shouldn't they be bus drivers at 3 p.m.? Shouldn't they be bus drivers at 3 p.m.? Was his half-brother the caretaker? Was his half-brother the caretaker? They have not been fed before at 2 a.m. They have not been fed before at 2 a.m. Will they be babysitting every 2 weeks? Will they be babysitting every 2 weeks? Were their cousins taxi drivers? Were their cousins taxi drivers? Your grandson was a harvester. Your grandson was a harvester. Then were songwriters. Then were songwriters. Did I post it in the afternoon? Did I post it in the afternoon? Shouldn't she love when the sun rises? Shouldn't she love when the sun rises? He watched the plant grow taller and taller. He watched the plant grow taller and taller. Can be technician every year. Can be technician every year. The channel was too deep. The channel was too deep. Was our nephew a watchman? Was our nephew a watchman? We didn't touch at dawn. We didn't touch at dawn. Choreographer, can't you do it after 4 weekends? Choreographer, can't you do it after 4 weekends? We could compare. We could compare. Did I die last year? Did I die last year? Can't you normally be a chef? Can't you normally be a chef? Wouldn't it normally fit? Wouldn't it normally fit? It was a great success. It was a great success. Threatening monthly. Threatening monthly. How did you hit the ball? How did you hit the ball? Should it roll at dawn? Should it roll at dawn? We can argue. We can argue. He is not a frequent pianist. He is not a frequent pianist. Was your neighbor a sailor? Was your neighbor a sailor? I can't believe we're already into the new year. I can't believe we're already into the new year. Can you give me more information? Can you give me more information? Sometimes we will not forget. Sometimes we will not forget. Monthly counseling. Monthly counseling. That test. That test. 1 day later it would not match. 1 day later it would not match. He guessed the answer was 12. He guessed the answer was 12. Don't you drink? Don't you drink? She can be a housewife in the previous one evening. She can be a housewife in the previous one evening. Do you always have to inspect? Do you always have to inspect? Do they become acrobats at dusk? Do they become acrobats at dusk? We were named every month. We were named every month. Can't he be a porter at noon? Can't he be a porter at noon? They were able to accept the terms of the contract. They were able to accept the terms of the contract. Could you pass the salt, please? Could you pass the salt, please? I don't want to lose my love for the lost. I don't want to lose my love for the lost. Wasn't he president at all? Wasn't he president at all? Added earlier at 1 a.m. Added earlier at 1 a.m. I am below you in rank. I am below you in rank. The only way to persuade others is to present evidence. The only way to persuade others is to present evidence. Brown is the color of dirt. Brown is the color of dirt. I'm going to the park. I'm going to the park. Wouldn't he yell now? Wouldn't he yell now? Can we deal with this at noon? Can we deal with this at noon? Do you rarely need to lock? Do you rarely need to lock? After a week, he can't direct. After a week, he can't direct. Her stepdaughter was a maid. Her stepdaughter was a maid. Are there grandchildren watchmen? Are there grandchildren watchmen? Injured in the twilight? Injured in the twilight? You include. You include. Will I serve? Will I serve? I usually say. I usually say. Are we singing? Are we singing? Was their grandmother a beautician? Was their grandmother a beautician? Can't he exist? Can't he exist? Can he sign often? Can he sign often? Doesn't it sit after a night? Doesn't it sit after a night? Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Did they respond to our request for a quiet room? Now he refuses. Now he refuses. Isn't she cold? Isn't she cold? Was your stepfather a greengrocer? Was your stepfather a greengrocer? Were our children businessmen? Were our children businessmen? Wouldn't he be a sheriff at noon? Wouldn't he be a sheriff at noon? Could he have been a psychiatrist 5 centuries ago? Could he have been a psychiatrist 5 centuries ago? They would examine. They would examine. He reads the newspaper every day. He reads the newspaper every day. Can't it? Can't it? How much is a room per night? How much is a room per night? Is he a songwriter at 5 a.m.? Is he a songwriter at 5 a.m.? We are promoting next year. We are promoting next year. Should I complain? Should I complain? Won't we play? Won't we play? Didn't I just bake? Didn't I just bake? I don't destroy every day. I don't destroy every day. I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. Will I never invite? Will I never invite? I don't notice anything special about the experience. I don't notice anything special about the experience. Can you edit after 1 month? Can you edit after 1 month? Are you threatening? Are you threatening? His stepson was a cop. His stepson was a cop. Won't you referee at noon? Won't you referee at noon? Her brother-in-law is a psychiatrist. Her brother-in-law is a psychiatrist. Will they not burn? Will they not burn? Is your sister a reporter? Is your sister a reporter? Are there relatives inspectors? Are there relatives inspectors? Can you give more details about this project? Can you give more details about this project? Talks about it often. Talks about it often. Can he garden every day? Can he garden every day? Still, there are some areas where we can improve. Still, there are some areas where we can improve. Should not object. Should not object. Will I never invite? Will I never invite? They could not measure. They could not measure. He will swim in the pool in the afternoon. He will swim in the pool in the afternoon. Can't I finish then? Can't I finish then? I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. Did they include it later? Did they include it later? Should not be forced immediately. Should not be forced immediately. Did you just get over it? Did you just get over it? May not have rested. May not have rested. Were your grandparents physiologists? Were your grandparents physiologists? Could he have contacted the night before? Could he have contacted the night before? They couldn't paint at night. They couldn't paint at night. A century later, he would collect donations. A century later, he would collect donations. Are we guards before? Are we guards before? Can she cry then? Can she cry then? Eggs are delicious. Eggs are delicious. Should it wash? Should it wash? Are their stepdads archaeologists? Are their stepdads archaeologists? According to the report, the company is doing well. According to the report, the company is doing well. Shouldn't it be excluded? Shouldn't it be excluded? Can they usually be concierges? Can they usually be concierges? I need to buy a new briefcase. I need to buy a new briefcase. Can I eat every day? Can I eat every day? I really look forward to spending time with my family and friends during the holidays. I really look forward to spending time with my family and friends during the holidays. They could send. They could send. There may be a solution to the problem. There may be a solution to the problem. Can you explain this concept to me again? Can you explain this concept to me again? Thank you for your help. Thank you for your help. You can be sure soon. You can be sure soon. This is beyond the scope of my abilities. This is beyond the scope of my abilities. Don't we carry? Don't we carry? I was sitting on the edge of the cliff and felt like I was on top of the world. I was sitting on the edge of the cliff and felt like I was on top of the world. Are your family tailors? Are your family tailors? You should give. You should give. Our stepmother is a rapper. Our stepmother is a rapper. Doesn't it carry after one day? Doesn't it carry after one day? Is my brother-in-law an officer? Is my brother-in-law an officer? Shouldn't we ever be bounty hunters? Shouldn't we ever be bounty hunters? Was not nervous. Was not nervous. They will play football in the park later today. They will play football in the park later today. Occasionally once. Occasionally once. Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Not a journeyman in the twilight? Not a journeyman in the twilight? Can't you normally be a chef? Can't you normally be a chef? Can he build every week? Can he build every week? Is it called at 1 a.m.? Is it called at 1 a.m.? He will invite me every day. He will invite me every day. I do not exclude. I do not exclude. Was her husband a philosopher? Was her husband a philosopher? Could he replace it? Could he replace it? Are their husbands bankers? Are their husbands bankers? Whatever you do, don't turn on the lights. Whatever you do, don't turn on the lights. Don't we clean up after one night? Don't we clean up after one night? I will dress. I will dress. Am I the referee every day? Am I the referee every day? I think we should learn what they mean and try to apply them. I think we should learn what they mean and try to apply them. I will buy a new car. I will buy a new car. I was outside the group. I was outside the group. I was working 2 years later. I was working 2 years later. You should not carry. You should not carry. Did you go on the night? Did you go on the night? Rarely hit? Rarely hit? Then not a historian. Then not a historian. When the plane takes off, we have been at the airport for 2 hours. When the plane takes off, we have been at the airport for 2 hours. Can babysit. Can babysit. It didn't fall right away. It didn't fall right away. Should I go to the virologist after a month? Should I go to the virologist after a month? You can cook. You can cook. Then the president at 3 a.m.? Then the president at 3 a.m.? Was his colleague a salesperson? Was his colleague a salesperson? Should we rank? Should we rank? Would reach out. Would reach out. Should I be an editor a century from now? Should I be an editor a century from now? I'm waiting weekly. I'm waiting weekly. We went to eat ice cream after the beach. We went to eat ice cream after the beach. Can't we pass in 2 hours? Can't we pass in 2 hours? You can watch it at noon. You can watch it at noon. He is not close. He is not close. Was his friend a paramedic? Was his friend a paramedic? Shouldn't they be athletic at sunset? Shouldn't they be athletic at sunset? The answer to the question is 42. The answer to the question is 42. After 2 months, he can become a curator. After 2 months, he can become a curator. I need to buy a new battery for my car. I need to buy a new battery for my car. It cannot burn. It cannot burn. I can attack later at 5 p.m. at midnight. I can attack later at 5 p.m. at midnight. Usually not a surgeon. Usually not a surgeon. Won't it bother at dawn? Won't it bother at dawn? Can you bring it right now? Can you bring it right now? Didn't he exercise an hour ago? Didn't he exercise an hour ago? I have so much happiness. I have so much happiness. Do you have a shuttle to the airport? Do you have a shuttle to the airport? Can't they settle in later at 1 a.m.? Can't they settle in later at 1 a.m.? I work in security and my job is to protect people. I work in security and my job is to protect people. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. We immediately became pipe layers. We immediately became pipe layers. His half-brothers are inventors. His half-brothers are inventors. Was her niece an actress? Was her niece an actress? Always understandable. Always understandable. What is the Wi-Fi password? What is the Wi-Fi password? 3 Yes, there is Wi-Fi in our hotel. 3 Yes, there is Wi-Fi in our hotel. They cannot survive in the twilight. They cannot survive in the twilight. Don't you appreciate? Don't you appreciate? You don't sing every day. You don't sing every day. It can wait every week. It can wait every week. I cooked dinner for my family. I cooked dinner for my family. Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? I can't afford a new car. I can't afford a new car. Which is your favorite beach? Which is your favorite beach? They couldn't have been better at sunset. They couldn't have been better at sunset. Should you do a manicure? Should you do a manicure? Did we swim right away? Did we swim right away? Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. He couldn't write every month. He couldn't write every month. Our stepson is a swimmer. Our stepson is a swimmer. It should not meet once a month. It should not meet once a month. Are they factory workers? Are they factory workers? Shouldn't they hide at sunset? Shouldn't they hide at sunset? I will have completed my apprenticeship next year. I will have completed my apprenticeship next year. I shouldn't be engaged. I shouldn't be engaged. Sun shining. Sun shining. Isn't she cold? Isn't she cold? We must take responsibility for our actions. We must take responsibility for our actions. It's beyond the scope of my home knowledge. It's beyond the scope of my home knowledge. He works in an office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. He works in an office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If the weather is not wet, I will go outside. If the weather is not wet, I will go outside. Was my mother a paramedic? Was my mother a paramedic? His cousins are sheriffs. His cousins are sheriffs. Your address? Your address? The train will arrive in 20 minutes. The train will arrive in 20 minutes. The coach helped the team prepare for the big game. The coach helped the team prepare for the big game. Can he dive? Can he dive? When the race is over, he will be running for 2 hours. When the race is over, he will be running for 2 hours. We would remove. We would remove. Can't affect. Can't affect. You wouldn't be an occasional lawyer. You wouldn't be an occasional lawyer. Is our stepbrother a loader? Is our stepbrother a loader? Do you not recommend after 4 months? Do you not recommend after 4 months? The wind was blowing my hair and I was feeling very alive. The wind was blowing my hair and I was feeling very alive. Is your stepmother an actress? Is your stepmother an actress? Can look. Can look. Is her colleague an esthetician? Is her colleague an esthetician? We can't eat. We can't eat. She sings beautifully. She sings beautifully. We could not publish. We could not publish. I will be late tonight. I will be late tonight. I'm in the room with the music. I'm in the room with the music. Autumn leaves are beautiful. Autumn leaves are beautiful. Sun shining. Sun shining. Your brother's air traffic controller. Your brother's air traffic controller. Did we hook up last year? Did we hook up last year? We are not referees every year. We are not referees every year. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. I shouldn't do the occasional pathologist. We will not analyze every year. We will not analyze every year. I love art, especially painting. I love art, especially painting. Still, there are some concerns that need to be addressed. Still, there are some concerns that need to be addressed. You clean it after 2 weeks. You clean it after 2 weeks. Won't run fortnight. Won't run fortnight. Can they exercise at dawn? Can they exercise at dawn? Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? Isn't he a civil engineer in 5 minutes? They should usually work. They should usually work. Shouldn't it be adjusted for 1 week later? Shouldn't it be adjusted for 1 week later? Our half-brother was an actor. Our half-brother was an actor. I agree. I agree. No annual commitment should be made. No annual commitment should be made. He goes to the beach on the weekends. He goes to the beach on the weekends. I sleep 8 hours every night. I sleep 8 hours every night. Were our parents geographers? Were our parents geographers? We immediately became pipe layers. We immediately became pipe layers. Is his friend a notary? Is his friend a notary? Were our siblings sociologists? Were our siblings sociologists? I'm going to the theater. I'm going to the theater. His grandfather is a senator. His grandfather is a senator. Don't we throw tiles every week? Don't we throw tiles every week? We visit our grandparents on weekends. We visit our grandparents on weekends. Will it not support after 4 years? Will it not support after 4 years? Did not exceed. Did not exceed. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. He won't be doing his internship in an hour. Shouldn't you be? Shouldn't you be? Rarely can they be trusted. Rarely can they be trusted. I can't interpret. I can't interpret. Breakfast is served from 7 a.m. Breakfast is served from 7 a.m. You can be sure soon. You can be sure soon. Should not be discussed often. Should not be discussed often. I will meet with my friends. I will meet with my friends. They will continue every year. They will continue every year. Does it always have to be suppressed? Does it always have to be suppressed? Should we usually provide? Should we usually provide? Shouldn't we be cops often? Shouldn't we be cops often? Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. Leaves fall from the trees in autumn. I will build a bridge. I will build a bridge. Is her mother a lawyer? Is her mother a lawyer? You should do the math at noon. You should do the math at noon. I may have to be late at work tonight. I may have to be late at work tonight. Can we behave? Can we behave? He swam in the pool. He swam in the pool. Are his stepsisters chiefs? Are his stepsisters chiefs? You often feel. You often feel. They're throwing a party next weekend. They're throwing a party next weekend. I have to answer. I have to answer. You must not suffer. You must not suffer. I am making paints. I am making paints. Shouldn't they kiss? Shouldn't they kiss? Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he didn't. Is her aunt the babysitter? Is her aunt the babysitter? Are we ranking? Are we ranking? We went to Paris for our honeymoon. We went to Paris for our honeymoon. I'm ready to go whenever you want. I'm ready to go whenever you want. His half-brother was an archaeologist. His half-brother was an archaeologist. He would say, they went to Japan last year. They went to Japan last year. Do they usually play games? Do they usually play games? After 5 evenings it wouldn't focus. After 5 evenings it wouldn't focus. Do they usually play games? Do they usually play games? I did not repeat it at dawn. I did not repeat it at dawn. Was your mother-in-law a pianist? Was your mother-in-law a pianist? May not drink. May not drink. Do they object? Do they object? When we reach the beach, we will be driving for 4 hours. When we reach the beach, we will be driving for 4 hours. They can be interviewers next year. They can be interviewers next year. Was my nephew the judge? Was my nephew the judge? Can I sell frequently? Can I sell frequently? They seldom walked. They seldom walked. He had no control over the situation. He had no control over the situation. Can we become beauticians every month? Can we become beauticians every month? Can't I wash it every day? Can't I wash it every day? Can they see 5 years ago? Can they see 5 years ago? We should be hopeful for next year. We should be hopeful for next year. We shouldn't stay every day. We shouldn't stay every day. Should never push. Should never push. Sometimes it won't show up. Sometimes it won't show up. 3 evenings later I am a politician. 3 evenings later I am a politician. We may not leave 10 years. We may not leave 10 years. Do they usually play games? Do they usually play games? Yes, we have a small gym. Yes, we have a small gym. Is her granddaughter the stewardess? Is her granddaughter the stewardess? Can it be announced every year? Can it be announced every year? One I will go out if it is not cloudy. One I will go out if it is not cloudy. He saw a play in the theater. He saw a play in the theater. I will promise the right thing. I will promise the right thing. You can't be a manager every day. You can't be a manager every day. My husband is a stewardess. My husband is a stewardess. You are not closed. You are not closed. A stepmother songwriter? A stepmother songwriter? Will he ever pay? Will he ever pay? You won't be teaching now. You won't be teaching now. Was your stepfather an undertaker? Was your stepfather an undertaker? His grandfather is an astronomer. His grandfather is an astronomer. But I don't think it's the right decision. But I don't think it's the right decision. Can I wear it after 2 weeks? Can I wear it after 2 weeks? Should you be a butler? Should you be a butler? Were your grandchildren investors? Were your grandchildren investors? Was his uncle a doctor? Was his uncle a doctor? Should she sing every month? Should she sing every month? I will bow to you. I will bow to you. The streets were flooded after the storm. The streets were flooded after the storm. Is their aunt a secretary? Is their aunt a secretary? He was never a sculptor. He was never a sculptor. It was a beautiful day out of the office. It was a beautiful day out of the office. I'm ready to go whenever you want. I'm ready to go whenever you want. Have I blocked it now? Have I blocked it now? Our stepfather was a teacher. Our stepfather was a teacher. You may not support. You may not support. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. My parents were receptionists. My parents were receptionists. Is his half-brother a tall sailor? Is his half-brother a tall sailor? Still, there is room for improvement. Still, there is room for improvement. I may have to work over the weekend to finish this project. I may have to work over the weekend to finish this project. He will start a new job in 2 weeks. He will start a new job in 2 weeks. Former organizer. Former organizer. The factor that determines success is hard work. The factor that determines success is hard work. There is a spider under the table. There is a spider under the table. I always look at reviews before making a purchase. I always look at reviews before making a purchase. Let's go over it one more time before we start the presentation. Let's go over it one more time before we start the presentation. 2 afternoons not electrician. 2 afternoons not electrician. Although the company struggled, they managed to turn things around. Although the company struggled, they managed to turn things around. After 2 weeks I wouldn't force it. After 2 weeks I wouldn't force it. He was a sailor at dusk. He was a sailor at dusk. We do not connect weekly. We do not connect weekly. Your brother-in-law was a window cleaner. Your brother-in-law was a window cleaner. I will raise rabbits. I will raise rabbits. Was not suspicious. Was not suspicious. We destroy every day. We destroy every day. Does it get better in the afternoon? Does it get better in the afternoon? Can't blame the yearbook? Can't blame the yearbook? Don't I juggle every year? Don't I juggle every year? It was not organized. It was not organized. Should we touch? Should we touch? You rejected the collector. You rejected the collector. Can you garden at noon? Can you garden at noon? He listens to podcasts on his way to work. He listens to podcasts on his way to work. Were your grandchildren investors? Were your grandchildren investors? 2 months ago can't I be an actor? 2 months ago can't I be an actor? Should have woken up last year. Should have woken up last year. Normally shepherd. Normally shepherd. Do you like sunset? Do you like sunset? I can't afford a new house. I can't afford a new house. Immediately became botanists. Immediately became botanists. Can't we hide after 3 nights? Can't we hide after 3 nights? Shouldn't I have a beer every 2 weeks? Shouldn't I have a beer every 2 weeks? Rarely do we get. Rarely do we get. Does not surround. Does not surround. I have a lot of determination. I have a lot of determination. They wear matching t-shirts on holiday. They wear matching t-shirts on holiday. Am I hopeful in the afternoon? Am I hopeful in the afternoon? Shouldn't he be a senator in 3 years? Shouldn't he be a senator in 3 years? It won't fund then 5 a.m. It won't fund then 5 a.m. He listens to the radio every morning. He listens to the radio every morning. Both employees and customers will benefit from this upgrade. Both employees and customers will benefit from this upgrade. Were his half-brothers night watchmen? Were his half-brothers night watchmen? Our cousins are announcers. Our cousins are announcers. Do they light up after a second? Do they light up after a second? Cooking is a fun hobby. Cooking is a fun hobby. I'm having a great time with my friends and family. I'm having a great time with my friends and family. Were my cousins CEOs? Were my cousins CEOs? The death toll from the earthquake was high. The death toll from the earthquake was high. We don't do tailoring. We don't do tailoring. Can't you apply then? Can't you apply then? Our aunt was a botanist. Our aunt was a botanist. Is your grandson an analyst? Is your grandson an analyst? I will always be there for you when you need me. I will always be there for you when you need me. Our neighbor was the guard. Our neighbor was the guard. Will not visit. Will not visit. Isn't he always a philosopher? Isn't he always a philosopher? GE dishwasher 3 morning later? GE dishwasher 3 morning later? Doesn't he insist? Doesn't he insist? He was the stepdaughter's race car driver. He was the stepdaughter's race car driver. Won't touch after 5 seconds? Won't touch after 5 seconds? My nephew is a musician. My nephew is a musician. His daughter was a gymnast. His daughter was a gymnast. The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate. The dinner party was ruined by the politics debate. Shouldn't they improve after 5 weeks? Shouldn't they improve after 5 weeks? We destroy. We destroy. He waited for the bus in the rain. He waited for the bus in the rain. They can always be the second man. They can always be the second man. Can you help me with this project? Can you help me with this project? We must put safety above all else. We must put safety above all else. Should never shout. Should never shout. May not heal. May not heal. The report's findings suggest that social media can have a positive or negative impact on children and adolescents, depending on how it is used. The report's findings suggest that social media can have a positive or negative impact on children and adolescents, depending on how it is used. Is your grandson an inventor? Is your grandson an inventor? 5 years later, I'm a judge. 5 years later, I'm a judge. I can visit. I can visit. I can blame. I can blame. Can they review last year? Can they review last year? Are you the monthly warrior? Are you the monthly warrior? His stepson was a monk. His stepson was a monk. Shouldn't he think at sunrise? Shouldn't he think at sunrise? Are our cousins receptionists? Are our cousins receptionists? Does it diversify? Does it diversify? I don't notice anything unusual. I don't notice anything unusual. Does he fly? Does he fly? His nephew was a rider. His nephew was a rider. I am willing to work hard to improve our relationship. I am willing to work hard to improve our relationship. Your brother-in-law is an astronaut. Your brother-in-law is an astronaut. Didn't I fix it often? Didn't I fix it often? Can you tell me what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Will you buy it? Will you buy it? Could he have contacted the night before? Could he have contacted the night before? Your husband is an artist. Your husband is an artist. You won't be teaching now. You won't be teaching now. The dog barks loudly. The dog barks loudly. Was his brother-in-law a jester? Was his brother-in-law a jester? It wouldn't come in a week. It wouldn't come in a week. Your aunt is an astronomer. Your aunt is an astronomer. Does not follow you. Does not follow you. Should we compete? Should we compete? I wasn't limited last year. I wasn't limited last year. Would we have a kick in the twilight? Would we have a kick in the twilight? Was rarely mechanical. Was rarely mechanical. My father is a retired teacher. My father is a retired teacher. Do you benefit? Do you benefit? Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. I need to wash my car. I need to wash my car. They don't know. They don't know. Did I threaten? Did I threaten? It is not produced at home. It is not produced at home. This is so annoying. This is so annoying. Aren't you normally supposed to be a paralegal? Aren't you normally supposed to be a paralegal? Was his father a cop? Was his father a cop? My nephew was a gardener. My nephew was a gardener. Was your sister a rower? Was your sister a rower? Monthly leave. Monthly leave. Will you settle in now? Will you settle in now?